Glory to Jesus Christ. I'm going to try something new here. I want to talk about St. Joseph the Hesychast. St. Joseph the Hesychast lived on Mount Athos. He was a monk and an extreme ascetic. He went to the Lord in 1959. He had a profound effect on a lot of people there, and is credited for rejuvenating Mount Athos, which a rejuvenation which continues today because he formed so many of the future elders who would be responsible for Mount Athos. Now, I don't remember how I bumped into St. Joseph. It was about a year and a half ago. And I've read a wonderful biography about him by one of his disciples, Elder Ephraim. And I've read other biographies. I've read the saints' letters. And I've watched a number of documentaries, especially one which is noteworthy. It's called St. Joseph the Hesychast, the movie. That's the heading on YouTube. And I highly recommend it. It's actually acted out. There's a little boy who plays St. Joseph, his mother, and there's no dialogue that's narrated. And the narrator's voice, man, I would follow him anywhere. I love his voice. The music, wonderful. Photography, it's in black and white. A lot of it's in black and white. There are also interviews with many people who knew the saint. Now, everything's in Greek, but there are subtitles. It's just spectacular. I've watched this documentary probably 10 times so far, and at this point, I have a Chutki with me, and I just pray through it. It's become like a devotional. What an inspiring story. Now, the question is that I'm trying to answer here is, why would a Byzantine Catholic, 75-year-old abstract artist be so powerfully taken by this saint? Okay, well, let's go back a bit. Well, let's go back quite a bit to when I was like under 7. I have clear memories of telling my mother, I don't want another dress. I don't want another doll. And I took this simplicity into adulthood. Now, in my 30s, I began to wonder, I'm so powerfully drawn to simplicity. Why? There has to be more to this than having less stuff. Well, it took me till I was 66 to solve this. And the first major insight, a revelation, which I consider from God into my heart, thank you, Jesus, was that the kind of simplicity I'm drawn to is interior. Minimalism, having less stuff, that's just a metaphor for what I'm really after. Now, that so resonated with me. So I thought at the time, I have solved a lifelong issue that I've been tracking for decades. So I kind of put that thought in the back of my mind and rejoiced that I had figured something out and thought I was finished. Okay, so when I was 75, so that's last year, 2024, I got part 2 of that insight. I don't know again why I went back to mull over it, but I recognized that the desire for interior simplicity, it's strong within me. It's a vocation, Carolyn. It's a calling, and it requires a response. Whoa, that was totally new. So I began to see that prayer was a way to practice the kind of interior simplicity I want. And I started using this word, well-known a theological term in Eastern Christianity, and that is kenosis, self-emptying. So I saw prayer as a way to sort of practice self-emptying. And again, I thought, oh, eureka, I have solved that issue. Okay, and then, but it turns out there's more to come. Now, that's another journey. Okay, so I'm going to stop with that. But it helped me to recognize why I was drawn to St. Joseph the Hesychast. I've been reading about the desert fathers and mothers, from the early centuries, 4th and 3rd centuries, um, the first monks and nuns who went to the deserts of Egypt and lived in caves and alone and searching for God. Now, I've been studying and reading about them for decades, like 30 years. Well, St. Joseph the Hesychast is a modern day desert follower, so to speak. His spirituality is just as extreme as those early saints, and so that explained that. And I'm still finding more because through Saint Joseph, who eventually attracted disciples, his spirituality, which of course is the that original empty yourself and yield everything to God in the most extreme way, is still being carried on at different levels, so to speak. So that's what I wanted to share, and I thought it was an interesting thought, and I want to encourage everyone who's interested in monastic life and in the Desert Fathers to consider St. Joseph the Hesychast. Thanks for listening.